Hey guys, what is happening? It's Daniel, the Aussie Super Affiliate, and in today's video I want to talk a little bit about affiliate marketing hosting. So the different environments, what kind of hosting you should be using if you're doing e-commerce, whether you're using blogs or whether it's landing pages. There's a lot of discussion around should you choose the most expensive package or should you choose just the cheapest, or even should you host in Australia if you're an Australian company, or should you host on a US server. So I want to talk about what's been working for me and some of the pros and cons to both, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. Alright, so to get started, I just wanted to talk about Australian hosting. So if you're an Australian business, the obvious choice is to get your server in Australia, and there's good reasons for that. Definitely speed is going to be way better than if your hosting is in Australia. One thing to keep in mind on the cons with Australian hosting is it's very difficult to find a hosting provider that is actually good. And I don't say that lightly. I've tried about 6 different hosting providers in Australia, and I've only found one of them that's actually really reliable and doesn't crash or doesn't have bugs, or doesn't have constant errors and downtime. So I don't know what it is about Australian hosting, but it just sucks. I would love to know your feedback. If you've had any issues with hosting in Australia, please leave it in the comments below. But that's just my experience. So the pros are obviously the speed. So definitely the speed of the server and the loading time of your website is definitely a lot better if you're hosting in Australia and your business is in Australia. So your customers are going to get to your website quicker, which means you will generate more sales, and it is better. But you just have to weigh up, is it worth a little bit quicker compared to your website being down half the time because the server's no good. So you just have to kind of weigh up. If you found a great hosting provider in Australia, that's great. If you haven't, I'm going to recommend some alternatives. So that's really Australian hosting to the side. Now I just want to talk about US hosting. So US hosting has been given a little bit of a bad raps in as far as disadvantage for people when they're trying to sell it in Australia, because the obvious choice, like I said, is Australia. However, US hosting, even though it sounds very far away, the data centers are actually still in Sydney and in Singapore. So the cable that runs straight from Singapore to Australia through to America is extremely fast. You almost can't tell the difference between having hosting in Australia as opposed to hosting in the US. There is some difference, but it's like a few, not even a few milliseconds. So it's really not a massive difference. If you do have hundreds of thousands of visitors, and your website does use a lot of resources, then having a dedicated server in Australia will still be better. But for the average blog with affiliate marketing, I'm going to say go with US hosting. So US hosting is definitely cheaper as well, and also more reliable. I'm going to note 2 of the top hosting providers that I use, and they're definitely the best. They're doing a bit of an offer at the moment, so you can get cheaper hosting right now. So I'll put a link in the description below. Check that out. It is HostGator and Bluehost that I use. So they're absolutely awesome. HostGator I do recommend a little bit above Bluehost, only because I feel like their service is better. When it comes to your needs, if you're using e-commerce, like if you're having lots of checkout processes and stuff like that, I would recommend not going for the cheapest version. Go the next level up. Just spend those few dollars extra and get a better server. It is going to be worth it in the long run as you grow the business, and it's only a few dollars more, so it's definitely worth it. Alright, so if you are just running a blog, you just need the basic one. So like $2.95 a month or whatever it is, simple, easy, cheap. You don't need much, and all you want to do is install WordPress. Look up some tutorials on YouTube of how to use WordPress. If you become fluent in WordPress, you're going to be able to do anything. when it comes to writing content and all that kind of stuff, just outsource it. Much easier than trying to write it yourself. Of course, to start with, you're welcome to do it, but it will get cheaper. You'll figure out than using your own time just to outsource it. So I'm just looking at a few different ways of doing that now with another company. But check out the Philippines. Very good service providers and very cheap as well, about $6.50 an hour. All right, so hopefully that helped you and gave you a little bit of guidance on, hosting. I did forget to tell you about which hosting provider I do recommend if you are going to host in Australia. That is Crucial Hosting or Digital Pacific. Those two are good from what I've seen. Other than that, just stay clear of the rest. They're terrible. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe for future videos. I will be doing more around affiliate marketing and more guides. This was more of just an informative video, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. See ya.